Love Island has enticed an entire generation since its debut in June 2015. Though the current format has deviated from its humble beginnings, the social dynamics between the islanders remain the same. With Season 8 of Love Island USA on the horizon, I wanted to take a deep dive into recurring themes and what we can learn from our favorite islanders. As Ecclesiastes remarked, "What has been will be again. What has been done will be done again. There is nothing new under the sun." Season after season, we see the same dynamics at play. Usually there's a couple that forms right at the beginning, and though heads may slightly pivot, they stick it through until the finals. Along with the questionable monogamous pair, there are couples that square dance their way through the experience, partnering up with the hottest new bombshells at opportune moments. In the mix of couples playing do-si-do, there's also a surplus of drama between the men and women. For when there's a new hen in the hen house, the pecking order changes. The same metaphor can be used about roosters, if you catch my drift. Shockingly, through various games made to tear couples apart, some islanders have made true connections on variations of the franchise. Many of these couples have gone on to get married and start families together. So why do some couples seem to thrive in the Love Island universe, while others fall apart? How can there be over 60 seasons across more than 20 international versions, yet the dynamics stay the same? Shows like Love Island amplify fears around unfaithful partners, and it's clear to see why. Many of the islanders justify getting to know new bombshells as testing their connection. To that, I say, what the fuck? To quote Charlie Gregorio from Season 7, Love Island USA. When it's early days in the villa, it's understandable that everyone is getting to know each other, as no true connections are really formed yet. However, when we reach day 20, the OG Islanders have had over 2 weeks to solidify something strong, or wait for the next bombshell, hoping a connection may appear. As an audience, it's devastating to see some of the strongest couples be torn apart when a hot new bombshell enters the villa, because it tugs at our own personal experience. This kind of behavior can have lasting effects, usually appearing in 2 different attachment styles: avoidant versus anxious. Avoidant attachment is an insecure attachment pattern defined as regular relational strategy characterized by a compulsive need for self-reliance, the active avoidance of emotional intimacy, and the conscious or subconscious suppression of attachment-related thoughts and feelings. According to psychology, this usually develops in childhood when primary caregivers are consistently insensitive, emotionally unavailable, or unresponsive to a child's distress. There are variations of avoidant attachment, including dismissive avoidant, which can be said as, "I am great, but others are unreliable," which means you have a positive sense of self, but a negative sense of others. And fearful avoidant, which means, "I am broken and others are dangerous," which is a negative sense of self and a negative sense of others. A study was done on gender role strain theory, where they discovered men were more likely to develop avoidant attachment styles due to societal strains. Think of the quote, "big boys don't cry," or how men are expected to present as strong and view emotions as weak. However, there is some discrepancy in this data. When a clinical adult attachment interview was conducted, the gap between men and women who have avoidant attachment shrunk, significantly actually. Women display their avoidant attachment style differently through masking in comparison to their male counterpart, so it would seem the avoidant attachment epidemic isn't specific to one gender, especially since gender itself is on a spectrum. On the other hand, there's anxious attachment, also called anxious preoccupied or anxious ambivalent attachment, which is an insecure attachment style characterized by a deep fear of abandonment and rejection, a chronic sense of relationship insecurity, and an intense need for constant reassurance and closeness. Anxious attachment doesn't fall into dismissive or fearful, as it is already written into the definition. However, fearful avoidant, otherwise known as disorganized attachment, is a mix of both anxious and avoidant tendencies. Anxious attachment is seen as singular in definition, yet varied in its expression, usually called anxious preoccupied to describe how anxiety completely consumes the person experiencing it. There's a quote from the 2010 film Beginners that I feel encapsulates a common experience on Love Island through all iterations. Someone flashy walks into your life, and you're just gonna fall for it? If you asked most Islanders this question, they'd probably answer, yes. Bombshells are sent into the villa to test existing connections, and their only job is to break up a couple. With this kind of constant curveball being thrown at the OG Islanders, it's clear to see how the structure of the show is set up for chaos and why attachment styles are put under a microscope. Let's start by examining the Love Island USA season that launched the program's popularity in North America. Of course, I'm talking about season 6, that gave us the iconic Serena Page, Janae Craig, Leah Kateb, Kaylor Martin, Olivia Liv Walker, Cordell Beckham, Miguel Harachi, Kendall Washington, Aaron Evans, and Rob Rauch. This season was a fireball that just kept on burning. Out of all the seasons of Love Island USA, this Casa Amor was by far the most turbulent, as some of the strongest connections faltered. The return from Casa was even more explosive, and at the end, almost none of the OG cast were in pairings. It was absolute carnage, and viewers loved it. So how do these attachment styles relate to Love Island? And what does it say about how we as individuals approach relationships? To start, we had the quintessential couple of Kaylor and Aaron, who coupled up day 1 and stuck it out until their elimination on day 30. Though they faced trials and tribulations, most notably Aaron, who had his head turned at the infamous Casa Amor by Daniela Rivera, though he came back from Casa alone, the girls had received video footage of the boys' antics while away, resulting in Kaylor choosing to be single over coupling with Aaron. In the end, they found their way back to one another and seemed stronger than ever upon departure. When examining her behavior, we can see clearly how Kaylor displayed an anxious attachment style. When Aaron was caught being unfaithful, she burst into tears and went into immediate panic. The betrayal triggered her nervous system into visible protest behaviors, which include heavy crying, screaming, and demanding immediate answers. Meanwhile, at Casa, Aaron displayed avoidant tendencies, minimizing his connection with Kaylor to benefit him pursuing Daniela. Upon return, when he was outed, on multiple occasions his reaction was to storm off, overwhelmed with accountability and even using "I love you" as a band-aid to the relationship, also known as deactivation deflection. Once the season was over, the two went back and forth until the inevitable breakup happened. Like a positive and negative magnet, the anxious and avoidant attachment attract each other. However, unlike magnets, they rarely stick together and are often pulled apart for the same reason that attracted them in the first place. Funnily enough, Kendall Washington and Nicole Jackie displayed the same dynamics. In this instance, it was Kendall who displayed anxious attachment, meanwhile Nicole was acting avoidant. They did not last after the villa when video footage of Kendall and another woman surfaced. Though this was before the pair had met, Nicole emotionally disconnected and the two never reconciled. Serena Page and Cordell Beckham had a slightly different dynamic that was refreshing to see. Serena displayed avoidant attachment with guarding tendencies. She put Cordell in the friend zone, which is a classic avoidant strategy to avoid potential heartache, as this buffer lowers the stakes and avoids intimacy. Honorably, Serena also discussed past heartbreaks and how she's guarded from them, showing signs of high emotional intelligence and self-awareness. Post-Casa Amor, the anger she felt towards Cordell was not only because he had broken her trust, but because the grief of past betrayals came to the surface. This was someone who let down their avoidant walls, only to be immediately proven right. Therefore, her quote-unquote crash out was beyond understandable and justified. Funnily enough, though Cordell pursued Daya at Casa, most of his behavior on the show displayed a secure attachment style. Secure attachment style is a psychological framework rooted in attachment theory. It describes individuals who are comfortable with emotional intimacy, trust, and vulnerability. Typically developed in childhood through consistent and responsive caregiving, it serves as the foundation for healthy relationships throughout a person's life. We saw Cordell display this when he accepted Serena's rejection and respected her boundaries when she friend-zoned him, maintaining their friendship and allowing her to process her feelings with space. Even after his Casa blunder, he said the iconic line, "Let's talk about why I'm a piece of shit," showing accountability, genuinely wanting to work through Serena's feelings towards him and how his actions negatively impacted her. Additionally, he never got mad at Serena for being a slow burn. He let her form the connection at her own pace. To no surprise, these two ran away with the victory, and in the end, they're still together as of May 2026. Similar to Kayla and Aaron, Leah Kateb and Rob Rauch had the same anxious avoidant attachment patterns at play. In the beginning, Leah presented as anxious, while Rob could be classified as highly dismissive avoidant. Liv Walker made waves as a first bombshell, splitting up Leah and Rob. Immediately, Leah's nervous system went through the same process as Kayla, leaving her feeling humiliated, distressed, and displaying protest behavior to cope with the sudden rejection. Leah's nervous system couldn't withstand the constant dismissive behavior from Rob. This boiled over when bombshell Andrea Carmona came into the villa on day 6, turning Rob's head, immediately leaving Leah out in the cold. Rob is a master at emotional deactivation, which we can see in his many eye rolls and jumping in the pool to hide. When relationships require deep accountability or get too emotionally charged, he shuts down, minimizing the other person's experience to protect his own independence. Rob's behavior triggers Leah to quote-unquote act out, then he turns around and deems her as crazy for her reaction. Overall, this pairing was toxic sludge, though entertaining. Ironically, when Rob coupled up with Andrea, he chose the same anxious attachment type for a partner without leaving the quote-unquote honeymoon phase. Essentially, while partnered with Rob, Andrea completely ignored other options in the villa, along with potential female friendships. Her sole focus was on her connection with the snake charmer. In contrast, Rob, being a dismissive avoidant, was not being pressured into hard conversations that Leah had demanded, rightfully so, from him. Rob was in a low-stakes situation with Andrea at the time, and he was smitten with her, as there was no emotional heavy lifting required. When Andrea was dumped from the island, we saw Rob's emotional avoidance in full swing. He threw a tantrum, threatening to leave with her, only to backtrack moments later. Classic emotional deviation. Once outside the villa, he claimed Andrea gave him the ick from posting too much on social media. Once again, this is a classic dismissive avoidance strategy after he realized he need to face real-world consequences outside the villa. Also keep in mind, after Andrea's departure, he was in couples with Daniela, Cassidy, and Cassie, even engaging in sexual activity. Most of these connections stayed surface level emotionally, resulting in Rob leaving the villa single. In contrast, Leah Kateb went on to find a genuine connection with Miguel Harachi. Though still anxious, Leah's nervous system wasn't sent into overdrive around Miguel, and there are several reasons for this. Upon entry, Miguel presented as a smooth-talking bombshell. His behavior signaled a secure/confident attachment style. He's calm, direct, and playful around Leah, accepting her as she is. When faced with hard conversations, Miguel didn't gaslight or shy away from Leah's intense feelings. He communicated clearly with her and provided a safe space for both of them to air out their feelings. Even after Casa Amor, Leah was understanding when Miguel brought back Sierra Mills, explaining that she knew Miguel would do something like this and it was fair play as they hadn't been coupled up for long. Essentially, Leah wasn't blindsided like she was with Rob. This led to Miguel making the decision to end things with Sierra to solely pursue Leah. The couple made it to the finals, securing second place, and upon exiting the villa, continued to thrive in their relationship, even moving in together in Los Angeles. The relationship can be labeled as secure co-regulation, and it's something we as viewers love to see. It's interesting how Serena and Leah's attachment styles were different, yet with secure partners, both were able to transition into secure relationships. After some research, I learned it only takes one partner having secure attachment style for a relationship to successfully transform. This dynamic is known as partner buffering, where one securely attached partner is able to be an emotional anchor in the relationship, providing the exact support their partner needs to feel secure and safe. This looks like giving an avoidant attached person space, but reassuring them that they will be there when said person is ready. It can also show up as offering upfront reassurance when the anxious partner starts spiraling, inherently avoiding their nervous system from going into protest behavior. However, this comes with a caveat. The person with anxious or avoidant behavior must be willing to grow. A secure partner can provide everything needed, yet when the other person is unaware of their own toxic traits, eventually the secure partner will grow tired. This is also due to secure attachment styles having strong boundaries of their own, meaning they're not afraid to calmly walk away from a situation that they know is toxic to protect their peace. To conclude, the Love Island franchise can teach us more about our own attachment style than initially thought. Certain islanders that we relate to might have similar behavior mirroring our own. Though the show is highly manufactured, human behavior and attachment style is not something that can be created. It is an inherent part of each person's psychology, and only through self-reflection can we find the keys to growing healthier and happier relationships outside the villa. Maybe that's why Love Island resonates so deeply. Beneath the bombshells and chaos, it mirrors the ways we seek love, sabotage it, and hope to heal from it.